Hello, I'm Kevin Walker, Senior Vice President of Public Policy for the Overland Park Chamber. This interview is being conducted on behalf of the Johnson County Public Policy Council, comprised of the Chambers of Commerce in Johnson County and the Kansas City Chamber. Jointly, we host a site, votejoco.com, a nonpartisan site where voters can learn more about the candidates for public office. Many of the candidates we'll be interviewing have completed candidate questionnaires that can also be found on votejoco.com. This morning, we have with us today Jason Buckley, Libertarian candidate for United States Senate. And thank you, Jason, for joining us today to share with our members and visitors to votejoco.com more about you and what your priorities are if you're elected. We'll start today's conversation by spending 3 or 4 minutes with you telling us a little bit more about yourself and why you're choosing to run for the U.S. Senate.
Well, thank you. Again, my name is Jason Buckley. I live in Overland Park, Kansas, and I'm looking to be the next senator of Kansas. Pat Roberts is leaving that seat. So I felt it was a good time for my party specifically to be able to run. And since the country is so divided in things, there's going to be a lot of people looking for other choices. So there might be a lot of people out there that may have heard the term libertarian or not even heard of it before. And it'll be a good opportunity for them to learn about our party and our platform and what we can do for them. And hopefully they'll be able to see that our platform and our policies, the way we want to run things is, there's a lot of people out there, I really feel like they're libertarian, just don't know it. The Libertarian platform is a very American platform. It's a very small government platform. And the two old parties over the last 100+ years have done nothing to, almost everything they've done has damaged this country. So I want to get into office and work to repair the issues that they have caused and gain a little confidence for the American people back into our federal government. I'm new to Kansas. I just moved from Missouri a year ago, but most people know Missouri and Kansas kind of share, it's one home kind of. So I've been a part of Kansas my whole life, whether my address has been here or not. I was in the U.S. Navy for 6 years. Served on a Spruance-class destroyer in Virginia, and also worked some time up in Des Moines. And I really hope people will keep an open mind to my platform and really think about it. And I think if they do that, they'll see that what I have to offer is in their best interest.
Jason, thank you for that. And we'll now transition to a few questions that focus on some business issues that are important to our members. So let me start with, what do you see as the top 3 business policy issues facing our country right now?
Well, the top 3 is the budget and the debt that our federal government has. It has to be fixed. All of those things they're paid through taxes, and taxes hurt businesses. We want businesses to be able to take everything they bring in and be able to build their businesses the best they can, because that will grow this economy. And another thing that we can do is, like, one of the things that President Trump has been doing for the longest time now is with tariffs. I would also seek to end all tariffs that are currently imposed on foreign countries, because at the end of the day, it only hurts Americans. It hurts trade with other parts of the world. So I want to open up the world to trade. I want the Americans to be able to trade with anybody they want to in the world.
Okay. And can you talk a little bit more broadly about your views on federal tax policy?
Well, federal tax policy, I believe that ultimately taxation is theft. I believe that people should be able to keep their money and spend it how they wish. If they wish to support a program or department that the government has, then they can do that how they see fit. You and I and everyone else knows how to spend their money the best. We all know the government wastes money. I mean, just look at our deficit. Look at the $26.5 trillion in debt. So we need to give that money back to the people, let them spend it how they see best.
Okay. And changing gears a little bit, what would you propose, if anything, to provide further relief to Kansas businesses impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic to encourage recovery and economic growth?
Well, I would have, the government should have never shut down anything. The reason why there's a lot of hardship for these small companies or individuals out there is because they shut down a lot of these businesses. They should have let them stay open. They should have let them listen to the medical advice of the doctors and set the policy they felt best to keep themselves open and safe. So all we have to do is get the government out of the way. There's already a lot of states looking to shut down things again. Let them recover. If you get out of the way, they will be able to recover.
And what are your views on long-term funding solutions for our transportation infrastructure?
Well, I believe that if people start paying for the roads that they choose to use and the bridges, the companies that maintain those roads and bridges will want to keep them repaired and updated. If you allow competition to come into place and to things like the roads and the bridges and the transportation sector, just like anything else, you will see improvements. They will be kept up to date. Because if somebody wants to draw customers to their roads or their bridges, they're going to want to make sure that they're desirable to use. So I would say we should privatize the roads and let the companies. There's already companies that build them now, and the government just gets in the way. Get the government out of the way. Let those companies take the roads over, and I guarantee you the roads will be far better than they are now.
And Jason, our next question, you've touched on this a little bit, but it deals with your views on international trade and tariffs. Can you expand on that a little bit more?
Well, tariffs, for example, they ultimately come back to the Americans. Whenever the government places a tariff on anything from any other country, what those costs get added to the cost of the item. So Americans have to choose to, now they can choose to use something from somewhere else that's not fair to them. I say there should be no tariffs and there should be no trade agreements. I say let people trade with whoever they want to. Right now, every one of us makes decisions in our daily lives on where we want to purchase things. When it comes to pharmacies, for example, we have a few choices. There's a couple big ones, and then there's a lot of other ones. Sometimes they're a little more, sometimes they're a little less. Some people choose those on their own. So the same principles should be applied to international trade, and when it comes to things like tariffs, those should not be a thing. That way people can decide what's best for them. Sometimes they'll want something that's cheaper that might come from somewhere overseas. Sometimes someone might want something that has more quality, maybe wants to support a local business. And they should have that right to choose that. The government shouldn't be able to tell Americans what they can and can't buy.
And what are your views on our national immigration policy? And more specifically, do you support employment-based immigration reforms to assist with workforce shortages?
I believe that the government has created an issue specifically on the southern border. I believe that all of the detention camps on the southern border should be closed. I believe we should adopt more of an open border policy. I believe most people that want to come here have good intentions. They want a better life. There's a lot America has to offer. And if American companies want to hire those employees, they should be able to. The other problem is when you put certain stipulations on what a company has to do to hire an American, it can actually lead to hiring someone from another country that's here undocumented under the table. So if you reduce the restrictions on US companies, then they can choose who they want to hire, and they can come to a voluntary agreement with that person on what should be paid, what benefits should be paid out. And if someone from another country comes here and they commit a crime, you treat them no differently than anybody else. Just because somebody was born here doesn't mean that they are not able to commit the same crimes that someone from another country comes here. So I say open the borders and let freedom requires the movement of people and goods. So I say open up the borders and let whoever wants to come here, come here.
Okay. And what are your views on the federal government's role in our healthcare system?
I think that the federal government has caused most of the problems people relate to the healthcare. A lot of people think that the healthcare market is responsible for the problems that is created. The government needs to get out of the way and go to a truly free healthcare market. Let doctors and patients decide what's best for them. I would also work to suggest that we get insurance to a status of being insurance again, and not a plan that covers everything that someone might need for their health care. Imagine like auto insurance, for example. If your auto insurance was required to pay for car washes and oil changes and tire rotations, car insurance and car repairs would skyrocket. It's the same idea. So I think the government should get out of the healthcare industry, let the healthcare industry continue to evolve, and the cost for that service will come down as well.
Okay. And my last question for you this morning is, what do you believe distinguishes you most from your opponents in the race?
Well, the two old parties, again, like I said, they've created all the issues that we face as Americans. The skyrocketing debt, the immigration crisis, the healthcare crisis, and amongst a lot of other things. So if we've been doing this for decades, and what's changed? Has it got better? It hasn't. A lot of the politicians in the two old parties, they promise things every time when they're running. They'll even make some small changes on how they're doing things right before they're due for re-election. But once they're elected or re-elected, they go back to doing the same old thing. They go back to working together for things that we don't even want. So if we want to truly fix all the issues, we need to break the cycle, and we need to look at other candidates than the two old parties. If people look at again, like I said, if people look at my platform and really think about it, I really believe a lot of them relate and see that libertarian principles and ideas can help them and help this country.
Well, Jason, thanks for answering our questions. Before we wrap up, I wanted to give you a chance to sort of, talk for a few minutes on anything you wanted to address and wrap us up.
Yes. So again, thank you for having me on here. I'm glad to be able to speak to the people of this state, and I really hope I really believe that I am going to do well this time. I believe I actually have a chance. The Libertarians, again, they're a third party, and they haven't been as well known because of the control that the two old parties have over our election system. So I really hope they look into me. I hope they see how freedom is truly the way that we need to move forward. And one day I believe we will be there. Hopefully it'll be in 2020.
Jason, again, thank you so much for your time. And let me just close by reminding everyone that advance voting by mail begins on Wednesday, July 15th, and advance voting in person begins on Monday, July 20th. And of course, primary election day, the polls are open 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. on Tuesday, August 4th. And we certainly hope everyone gets out and exercises their right to vote for the candidate of their choice. Jason, thanks again, and we appreciate your time today.
All right. Thank you, Kevin.
Bye-bye.
Bye.